Welcome in episode 5 of DPpod. Baseball spring training has begun. Basketball's back after the All-Star break. We're starting to slowly get back into the work of things. UFC Fight Night just started a little bit ago. I'll be watching that after I film this. A lot of stuff to cover. Not a ton of big news, but sports is sports. It's always going, never stops. And we're going to start off with Bill Mazeroski. He passed away, former Pittsburgh Pirate. Had the walk-off Game 7 home run in the 1960 World Series. Still stands as the only walk-off Game 7 World Series home run. It's one of two World Series walk-off home runs to win a championship. So, rest in peace to him. We can just watch that real quick. It's very quick, but it's pretty memorable. Love how he took his cap off. It's not even like a helmet. I mean, it is, but so rest in peace to him. I had to get that out of the way first. Let's look at it. I got a opening monologue, and I hate to be about Philly sports, but we'll get to it. Let me just let's go with one other thing I thought was pretty cool. So the Olympic sport hockey final between U.S. and Canada is tomorrow, Sunday at 8 a.m. And McGillen's is opening at 8 a.m. for the game. Limited menu, bring your own breakfast. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool thing for them to do. But yeah, let's get going with my rant to start. I'm just gonna pose a question before I do my little rant because it'll be little, but did the Philadelphia 76ers just hand the Oklahoma City Thunder their back-to-back title? What do I mean by that? Well, as you know, Jared McCain was dealt there a couple weeks ago for a couple of second round picks. And he just dropped his not career high, his season high with the team, 21 points in the win the other night. And, this is less about Jared McCain and more about the Sixers. We already know how incompetent they've been run, especially this year. Especially knowing Joel Embiid's health history. Now he's out both games, out of the All-Star break. It's unacceptable. It really is. I don't mean to get aggressive here, but the Sixers just handed Jared McCain away. They handed him away. I don't want to rehash, how they didn't go after it at the deadline. That's clear and obvious. But the Spurs, I think, are their biggest challenge. They've beat them, I think, every game, beat the Thunder. But another shooter, another guy that can create shots, a fast-paced player. That's how they play. Really tough defense. They're not as effective as they were last year. Don't get me wrong; they're still in first place. I think a game outside of first place in the entire league. But yeah, I think the Sixers may have just handed the Thunder their back-to-back title for the first time, the first back-to-back championship we would have seen in 7 years, almost a decade since the KD Steph Warriors. But it really does aggravate me. I don't want to get too much into it, but the incompetence of the Sixers may have just, like I said, may have just handed the Oklahoma City Thunder their second straight championship, and that irks me because they just gave them away almost for nothing. Not to say that Jared McCain was going to be this all-star, but he was a decent player, and you drafted him in the first round last year, and you give him up for some seconds. In an NBA draft, yeah, it might be deeper, but what are you getting in the second round? In NBA drafts, realistically, what are you getting? So that ticked me off. Let's get to something else. Oh, this is. I didn't see this. Let's take a look what this is. Oh, I'm not even reading. This is Bryce Harper on Bussin' with the Boys. Bryce Harper will go pretty far for a World Series. Obviously, spring training started the other day. Phillies lost today. Justin Crawford had 2 hits. So that's pretty cool. Aaron Judge and the Yankees, I think, destroyed the Tigers. It was like 20-3 the last time I checked. But let's see what... This is a pretty interesting interview. At one point before I play it, he took a shot at Dave Dombrowski, I saw. But I think Will and Taylor probably egged him into that question, right? Egged him into that answer. So let's take a look at what he would do to win a World Series.
What is something that Bryce Harper would do anything for?
World Series?
Be real. How far would you go?
Oh, I would do it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You would even take half? You do
You
the
get
whole
the
thing?
assignment.
If we're talking about it, then yeah. I mean,
I was thinking.
Yo.
Hey, man, the way he looked at me, he's like, I'll do it. Something, nothing else needs to be said.
I mean, Jeffrey Simmons said he'd kiss another man.
Yeah?
Bryce? World Series, Game 7. You're in there getting ready. Some guy in a cloak comes up and he's like, hey, you can win, but the only way you're going to win is if you kiss this man right here, and Will pops up.
for the boys.
What is
Good answer, Bryce. Good answer. What would I do? He would do anything, clearly. He would do anything. And I love that passion. You know, we can rip him like we ripped a lot of the Phillies, and I still will. Not, I'm not going to go fully into him. At this point, it's on team management, just like it is for the Sixers. So we'll see what happens this year. I don't feel super confident on the Phillies or the Sixers. But, yeah, so baseball's back. Baseball's back, guys. Not regular season yet, obviously. But the ABS system is going to be interesting. The challenge system I've seen that's been used quite a few times already. So I went on the MLB website just to confirm what we're looking at here. So this is the strike zone they're going to use. So 17 inches across. 8.5 on the plate. Now let's take a look at how does this compare to the human umpire zone, because this is what I was interested in. Because, how accurate is this? How accurate are the humans? How accurate are the real umpires? So this is what it says. The umpire called strike zone has generally been more rounded and more lenient to pitchers, with a 55.6 max up top and 24.2 minimum at the bottom. As an example of the impact this can have on a key call, MLB research found that in 2-2 counts, it's weird that they only did that, but we'll see. The umpire called zone was 449 square inches, while the ABS zone was 443. So it's actually better for the hitters, which I like. I do like that. I'm not saying that is 6 square inches going to be a lot? Possibly. We all, as sports fans, I think we want more hitting. Maybe the diehards love the pitching as much. And don't get me wrong, I love a good pitching outing. That's what I love, playing the show and just dominating with pitching on the hardest setting. But we want to see more hitting. So that's going to be interesting. I'd like to see how this is going to work. It seemed like in the Yankees game I saw, the Yankees-Orioles the other day, I think it took like 40 seconds, they said. That seemed a little long. I'm not trying to just criticize to critique or critique to criticize. But, if we can get that 20 seconds, it's automated. Let's speed it up. We sped up the game the last few years. It's a good start. We'll see how it goes during the regular season. We're still kind of in the training wheel. We're attempting to take the training wheels off. We got a month plus. We'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for it. The old heads don't like it. I don't care. I want to get the right calls. You're not taking the human aspect out of the game completely. You still have umpires. There's not a robot standing back there. Let's relax. We've had so many calls this ended games. I remember, what was it, Kyle Schwarber? I think it was Angel Hernandez where he got called out. I don't know if it was to end the game. But it was a big at-bat a couple years ago, and he flipped his shit. And Kyle Schwarber's not the guy to be a super emotional player. So, to fix those calls, I think it's important. Let's get the calls right. Yeah, we'll delay big moments. We'll delay big moments at some points, probably. Let's get the call right. All right, we're not taking a minute and a half. We're not taking 5 minutes. Let's get this done less than 30 seconds. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's go. Let's keep the game going. 2.5-hour games, gotta love it. Down from like 3.5 hours. So yeah, baseball's back. Next few weeks I'll make my prediction. I'll make my predictions. Try to have somebody on. Try to have maybe John on. See if he'll do some predictions with me. But yeah, so baseball's back. NBA's back for real after the All-Star break. Where do I want to go with this? Yeah, so I don't want to go on a huge rant about this, but because I've said this before with awards, I've written short pieces about this. I've talked about this, and I don't know about in video form a ton, but I think that sports leagues should really do what the NFL does: have an Offensive Player of the Year award and have the MVP. They can be the same player, sure, but let's make it separate. And that's what I want to do in the NBA too. Let's have the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year, because those are different. Like, for example, I don't think Luka should win MVP. Could he win Offensive Player of the Year? Sure. I do think that. So I circled a bunch of guys. I wrote down a bunch of guys who I thought were MVP candidates. How many names did I write down? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I wrote down 10 names. I'm not going to say all the names, but here are my top 6 in no order right now. I need a couple more weeks to figure out who I really think is MVP. I know who I would like to vote for if I was a voter. And don't get me wrong, I love Tyrese Maxey, but they can't win games without Joel Embiid right now. So I would love to vote him for MVP. He's a really good scorer, but he's having an Offensive Player of the Year kind of season. But I can't say him. So here are my top 6 candidates in no order for MVP right as we start the second half of the NBA season. I would have Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, and I'm having Victor Wembanyama. I know they can't win the awards. I know some of those guys are not going to be eligible, and it sucks. I don't like the 65-game rule. I get what they tried to do. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. But those are the guys. It's weird about Nikola Jokic because he's probably not going to get the MVP because they don't want to give him a 4th MVP. It sucks because, like I said, I feel like awards in sports have kind of been clouded by narratives and just inconsistency on how we vote for the awards, which ties into the narrative of the certain season. Who I would like to win MVP if the season ended right now, I would take Cade Cunningham. I'm not biased because he's on my fantasy team. Trust me, I'm not. But I think he has really grown as a player. He's been with the Pistons for 5-6 years now. They're a first place team. Yeah, they have a second All-Star in Jalen Duren, but I mean he's the catalyst of that team. He runs the show. Yeah, they got Toby Harris. Yeah, they got, guys here and there, but they're not established, really good players, if we're being honest. Not to degrade any of them, but I think Cade has really carried this team. They're in first place. When was the last time the Pistons have been in first place? I should have looked that up. Probably when they won the championship in 2005. But I would like to see Cade win an MVP. That'd be cool. If I had to pick who it would be right now, it's probably SGA because that's what the betting odds say. So, that'll be interesting, though. I gotta stop saying that'll be interesting. I feel like I say that way too often. It'll be a fascinating second half of the NBA season. Yeah. Oh, yeah, one more thing in the NBA, and then we'll move on to some other things. I don't think there's an Eastern Conference team right now that can win the championship. Point blank. I don't think the East is strong enough. You could say the Knicks. Okay, they may have the most experience as a team right now, minus the Celtics, just because of the way the Celtics are this year, how they've revamped. Can the Knicks make the finals? Sure. I don't think they beat any of these teams in the West. I have 4 teams I think that can win the championship right now, and they're all in the Western Conference. And those teams all have MVP candidates, let's be honest. It's OKC, San Antonio, Denver, and Minnesota. Those are the 4 teams I think that can win the championship. Minnesota's kind of on my bubble. I think they have a lot of length, good defense, obviously, versatility. But if I had to pick, yeah, I don't think there is an Eastern Conference team that can win the championship this year. As much as I like Cade, I don't think they're deep enough. I don't think they have enough guys that can create their own shots in the half court set. I don't. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But if I had to go off gut feeling right now, and later on in the season, maybe in a month, we'll regroup and I'll have like I don't want to say a championship bubble, but we'll see if this expands or shrinks my teams. We'll see if I add an Eastern Conference team. I don't think I will. So right now I do think there are 4 teams that can win the championship. Reasonably 3 if I'm not including Minnesota. But OKC, San Antonio, Denver, and Minnesota. So that's NBA right now. Not a lot of NBA games tonight. Joel Embiid out again. Don't love to see that. But you know what? I will do one more NBA thing because the tanking is a big thing, and I'm not going to go into more tanking. But I saw this tweet and it was pretty funny. Adam Silver wants to introduce 2 new teams into the league while we still have 8 directionless, bottomed-out franchises, and while also making it impossible for them to escape poverty. Yeah, that's the NBA right now, and that's all sports. I don't like the idea of expansion. It's greedy. I know the NFL wants to do international and all this stuff. Let's get more teams. Can we just focus on the teams we have here? We have, like that tweet said, we have like 6 to 8 teams in the NBA that they're not just tanking, they're just bad teams. New Orleans, Washington, Charlotte's been a little better, but those type of teams, the Jazz, I mean, they got talent, but we don't need to expand. Let's focus on these teams first. I would not be able to be a commissioner of sports. That would be cool though, because one of the first things I would do, I'm going to make a video on this, I think, in the future. I'm going to make a video on me being commissioner of all the sports leagues. I don't know if I'm going to have to make it separate videos. I could talk on and on and on. But if I was commissioner of these sports leagues, I would take away teams. If not take away, I would move them. But I would prefer to take away teams. Because we got like 30 teams in the NBA. It should be like 26. If we're being honest, they're not going to get rid of teams. That'll never happen. But that would be me if I was commissioner. Just saying. So yeah, MLB's back. I saw Spencer Jones for the Yankees. Whew. Oh, I'm not excited about the Phillies as much, but oh my gosh, if Spencer Jones is anything like, if he can protect Aaron Judge like that in the lineup, if they got him behind him, ooh, watch out, American League, watch out. Yeah, we'll get into more MLB in the coming weeks, my predictions. I saw Justin Verlander is back with the Tigers. That's pretty cool. Renaissance, maybe? Nick Castellanos at first base. I saw he made a diving play the other day. It's going to be interesting. I think he's playing outfield, DH. He's not going to be third base because of Machado. But he'll play a little first. It's going to be interesting. I forget when they go to visit Philly. I think we go to San Diego first. I think it's like June, early June, when San Diego comes to Philly. That'll be interesting. What do you think? It'll be like what do you guys think? 70% booze, just because of the way Philly is. I'm not saying Nick didn't underperform at points, but you know how Philly sports is a little bit unreasonable with some of the booing. But hey, it's passion. I don't take it as just crazy fans. I take it as we care, because it's cold up here and we care about sports. It's actually getting a little nicer out, but. And let's see, how do we wrap this up today? Quicker episode. I'll do a couple more things and I'll talk UFC. A couple more things on Twitter. Lane Johnson coming back. That's important. Obviously, we got a whole new coaching staff on offense. Sean Mannion, I saw an interview with Saquon Barkley today. He's excited. He's refreshed. He said he's never seen an offense like this that he has. I don't think they've gone into full detail yet. But yeah, that offensive line's key. I think that may be even more important than the play calling. That offensive line was not as good as it was last year. It just wasn't. So that'll be interesting. that video I just showed, I just realized was Lane Johnson scoring a touchdown. Pretty funny. So we'll see how the Eagles bounce back from this year. Oh, one more baseball thing. Our favorite guy, Ruben Amaro Jr., he says he would bat Bryce Harper leadoff and just go left, right, down all the way in the lineup. Bryce Harper lead. Why can't we get a traditional leadoff hitter? I don't understand. I think I would go Trey first. I would go Trey. And you know what? I'm going back-to-back lefties. I would go Trey, Bryce. No, I'm sorry. Trey, Kyle, Bryce. No, I don't know if you can. I think it's so tough because you got to hope. You almost have to hope that Adolis Garcia pops off this year so he can protect the lefties because I don't know what they're going to do with their lineup. I don't want to go too much into Phillies right now because I already did a little bit. But Bryce Harper leadoff, I feel like we've lost the plot of leadoff hitters in baseball. And then, so we got UFC going on right now. I'm about to turn that on. UFC Fight Night, Sean Strickland against Fluffy, Anthony Hernandez. I don't want to talk about the Strickland fight as much. I want to talk more broad about the UFC a little bit. I posted a video on TikTok last night. I don't want to say that, obviously I'm not a diehard UFC fan. I do love the UFC. I am a big fan. I'm not as diehard as they would say, as the diehards would call me out and say, oh, you're talking about there's not enough superstars, and it's not just about superstars. No, it's not just about superstars, but you need superstars in the UFC. You just do. Why do you think Conor McGregor was the way he was? Why do you think John Jones and Daniel Cormier were the way they were? This isn't 1990s. They even had... I'm having a brain fart here. But you need superstars in the UFC. So I keep seeing all these reports on Yuri Prochazka. I might be saying it wrong. I'm sorry. Prochazka and Hamza Chimaev in a super fight potentially when Alex Pereira moves up and now Chimaev may move up. People complaining, you stay in your own division. You gotta, defend your title. Blah blah blah. Well, I feel like that would be true now if they didn't strip your titles if you moved up weights. But now you can just kind of move up weights whenever because of the strip titles. We want more super fights. Let's get more super fights. I'm not saying that the UFC is lackluster. I did say that in my video on TikTok last night. But some of the cards, maybe it's because of the impending White House card we're still waiting for them to announce. But I want more super fights. I'm okay with the we wanted Alex Jones. Sorry. We wanted Alex Pereira, John Jones. That's why I got that confused. We wanted, Ilya and Islam. I think we still will get that by the end of this year. That's my prediction. We want the super fights. I get the rankings and I get defending your belts. But now the fact that the fighters have to give up their belt once they leave the division, I'm okay with more super fights. I'm okay with more jumping divisions. Let's go. I don't think it ruins integrity of the game. I think we need the big fights. That's what UFC is. That's what fighting is. We want the biggest dudes fighting in the best fights. That's what we want. So yeah, all right. I'm ready to watch some UFC. I'm getting a little amped up. Finish my energy drink. Thanks guys for watching. If you stuck in this long, go watch some UFC. Go watch some NBA. If you want, go watch some spring training. And I will see you back here next week.